Welcome to the Bourbon Experience. My name is Austin. Today I'm reviewing Dusty Heaven Hill. Today I'll be reviewing Old Ezra at 15 years. Before I get into that, if you could please like, comment, subscribe. Last I checked, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend subscribing to my channel as a health benefit. So make sure you do that, as well as taking your vitamins. Okay, let me get into this. Now, this was released in the 90s. This is a Japanese export, so there's some Japanese lettering on there. And it's 15-year pre-fire Heaven Hill. A couple weeks ago, I did a video talking all about pre-fire Heaven Hill, and I reviewed a 24-year pre-fire Heaven Hill, but that was released in the modern era. So this is on theme with my Dusty videos that I'll be doing. So get into this one. I mentioned this is pre-fire Heaven Hill. I did a whole video about that before, so I'll link it. Go check that out. I'm not going to get into the history and all that stuff here. I did get this on secondary, and I only bought like 2/3 of the bottle, I believe. And I mean, they made a label for it as well. So I'll be pouring out of this. He did send me the bottle of it though. Be interesting to see how this compares to the 24-year pre-fire Heaven Hill, as this was released, back in the day, compared to a modern release of old whiskey. This says 101 proof for body and character. 15 years ago, a limited number of barrels of our rare old sipping whiskey were carefully stored away, not to be disturbed until they reached their peak of smoothness. For 15 years, that whiskey just kept slowly aging, naturally mellowing, right inside those select, heavily charred white oak barrels. The result, Old Ezra, a 15-year-old 101 proof sipping whiskey. So sipping smooth, it could only come from the folks at Kentucky's finest little distillery. They said smooth a lot, and I don't think they would have known that that's kind of a bad word in today's whiskey vocabulary. Yeah, the rest of that stuff doesn't matter. I do have an Old Ezra 12-year that I bought a full bottle of, and I don't know when I'm going to be opening that, but the price difference between the 12-year and the 15-year is pretty remarkable. So hopefully that 12-year is a good value for what you're getting. So before I even got into smelling, like bringing it up to smell it, I could smell it from here. It almost has like a cognac or really aged rum nose. And when I'm saying that, what I'm really saying is it smells like a dusty bourbon. It has that old school bourbon funk to it. Oh man, that smells ridiculous. And look how it's got a nice color to it. Yeah, old wood funkiness, dusty bourbon profile, cognac-y, aged rum-y. That wood though is pretty, stands out. And maybe some like butterscotch. Yeah. That is insane. That might be my favorite 101 proof whiskey. Man, on the finish there is that kind of like cognac sweet thing. There's that funky barrelness. There's butterscotch, oak. It's rich, it's full, it's round. What I said about the rare breed is how I described the flavors, but then I said it's just so rich and round and full that I just saying the words doesn't do it justice. It's very concentrated. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and then what I still get now, what I've gotten the last few times I've tried this, is there's a strawberry jam thing. So to me, if you took Old Rip Van Winkle from Buffalo Trace, 10-year, I always get this like strawberry jam thing on it. and then you blended that with funky, dusty pre-fire Heaven Hill. Like, this is the coming of those two things. The strawberry red fruit jam thing that pops out on this is really nice, because I don't normally get that on a lot of the dusties that I've had, whether it be from turkey or some other things. I normally don't get that red fruit. Even other Heaven Hill stuff, I don't get a red fruit thing. So that's unique. Yeah, and then, I mean, caramel obviously, and then just that funky oak thing is really, really prevalent. But this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. I'm almost out of it, and I'm going to be very sad when it's gone, because, I mean, this stuff is just ridiculous. If you have a chance to try something like this, I would recommend not drinking it next to any like barrel proof stuff, because it might take away from the specialness that truly is this. I had this on a flight of really old Heaven Hill stuff and high-end Buffalo Trace stuff when my daughter was born. And this stood out and was, I mean, there was some crazy stuff that was in that flight, but this really stood out on its own. But then I had it next to some other barrel proof stuff too, and it kind of took away from the specialness of this. But I recommend just drink this by itself if you can, and savor every last drop here. And yeah, that's where I'm going to leave this. So as always, the bourbon experience is all about good pours and great times with whoever you're with. Whiskey meant to be enjoyed, so crack those bottles. Cheers.